the sweeter when you get to those team fights.
So LGD going to be sticking to the blue side. They have side selection for the first 3 games of the series as the higher seed. And WE respecting Xie here, finding out this Zoe. But it's important to mention that there are picks open here for Morgan if WE do want to prioritize something else. But LGD realize that, and they know how much Morgan loves the Croc.
Exactly, and I think they're more hovering it there to show we know Morgan is going to take this. WE will first rotation this Renekton in a lot of their games to make sure that Morgan gets it. You're going to see it here. But I think LGD going towards the Ashe is the better option here, especially when, again, you can try and play from range. You can start going back towards some of these picks that do very well with kiting back, as we saw in the last game. And although Pei Shang has got his hands on this Graves, he's going to be looking like he'll have control in this jungle matchup. You still got to wait and see what Peanut can pull out, and especially how Xie and Teacher Ma's matchup will influence that jungle.
We're going to see Lilia hovered every game of this series, I guess, as Peanut moves away from the Lilia pick, goes to this Kindred. It's something we mentioned before. Peanut is more than happy to play a carry in that jungle.
And this would be perfect. Something like an Ornn that can set up for a follow-up engage, just okay into that top lane matchup, but more importantly, can control the zones in these fights. Makes it difficult for Beishang to move in. Same when you look towards some of these AD carries, and you've got that big Call of the Forge God, plus these late game items for your double AD carries. LGD are setting up wonderfully for this late game.
Jin being hovered here by WE as the option up against the Ashe in the bottom lane. It has to be said, though, Jin not good against the tanks like we're seeing the Ornn in the top lane. And WE decide Jomung, he was not the problem in game number 1. The Ezreal was fine. They lock it in again.
And now I want to see what the plan is here from WE and LGD when we look towards bans. Support would be the way I go for WE. The Thresh isn't one we traditionally think of with Killua, but definitely has been playing it a lot in solo queue. I know once you were talking about that before the game started, but definitely want to see them go back towards something like the Braum or along the lines of this Tahm Kench as well. I think Braum would work super well with the composition LGD have in keeping Morgan out of these fights, making it difficult for Beishang to have these big impactful moments, and say along the lines of Jomo.
So we are going to see the Karma band away here from Teacher Ma, all missing. Both of them have been willing to pick it up. I wouldn't be surprised to see more support bans coming out from WE. I would love to see them ban the Tahm Kench. Killua looked amazing on Tahm Kench in game number 1, and it meant that it was so difficult for WE to pull off plays, but they're going for Syndra.
They're going for Syndra, yeah. That's exactly what that ban says. And going to be the Orianna taken away from Teacher Ma. So this is one of the picks Teacher Ma has started to move towards, is the likes of the Sylas and also this Orianna. Syndra has been the fallback for Teacher Ma, though, before he added these 2 extra champions to his pool. So I imagine that's going to be the game plan here. Although, might be looking to take away the Braum. We were just talking about how good that would be for Killua.
This is a little bit curious now, because Xie could just take away the Syndra. So this feels like maybe they're trying to bait Xie into the Syndra pick.
Super strong Syndra. Now, it did get nerfed.
It doesn't feel like a big bait to me.
Yeah,
it feels like you're just giving Syndra away.
Yeah. Now, Syndra doesn't do so hot against the likes of the Braum, and you've got enough there that it could be a bit of an issue, but definitely Xie Syndra has been incredible. He's got a 63% win rate on the champion, and even though it did get nerfed, we saw how strong it still can be yesterday from Mole in that last V5 game.
Oh, you can see the Chinese fan vote at the bottom of your screen. It was slightly more favorable for WE towards the start. It was about, 35% in game number 1. That has dropped significantly, and it looks like LGD not going to opt into this Syndra despite the Echo ban here. And it looks like they may go for this Sylas, which is interesting because Sylas has been a pick that Xie's played a good amount, but it was one of the picks that Teacher Ma started to play towards the end of the split.
Certainly, and it does particularly well into the Syndra matchup as well. You're relatively tanky, you can look to trade aggressively, you can still do okay in this lane, kind of neutralize it to a certain extent, but the big thing here is that this is like a Xie special. He's got a 57% win rate on it, oftentimes ends up banned by enemy teams against him as well in almost 45% of their games, so this is something where Xie can shine and can put in these big carry performances.
So off the back of the draft then, Dagda, how are we feeling? Because to me, just on face value, feels pretty good for LGD, especially when we look towards the later stages of the game. But there's a bit more comfort here for WE with things like the Renekton for Morgan.
I do agree. The biggest problem that I see, though, is actually being able to operate in these team fights as WE. Because you're relying heavily on Morgan to be your engage to alongside, say, Scat of the Week from Teacher Ma. And when you're looking at LGD, who've got Ash to play far back, you've got Peanut with this Stay Alive ultimate as well, makes it very difficult for you to try and enact these big burst combos coming through from Teacher Ma, the follow-up burst coming through from Morgan. It just means WE have a bit of a difficult time in one, getting into these fights, and two, when they get there, having the damage to kill off multiple members from LGD very quickly.
Well, Dagda's certainly liking the look of LGD coming into game number 2. Let us know on Twitter as well who you're fancying. Hashtag WE win or hashtag LGD win. Get involved in the conversation and tweet at LPL English as well to let us know what's going on. But I've still got faith, Dagda. I still believe in WE as we head towards game number 2. I believe that they can make this happen now. Morgan has got himself a bit more comfort in the top lane, but I'm still keeping my eyes on that mid lane. Shie against his old squad, against Teacher Ma. And he looks fantastic in game number 1. Let's see if he can repeat game 1's performance.
WE 加油！你们不只是少年。老干爹加油！
We're on Summoner's Rift once more. Game number 2 here between WE and LGD. LGD the 6th seed against WE the 7th. And game number 1, in case you missed it, ladies and gentlemen, was very one-sided in favor of LGD. Now WE, with their backs against the ropes, have to try and fight back in this series to prove that they have moved on from Shie.
And the reason I'm a little bit doubtful of that for WE. It is. Nice little way to bring us into game 2. LGD's composition, though, just very nicely slots in with the puzzle that is LGD trying to make these engages towards the later portion of the game happen. Longxing has been such a crucial tool for them on this Ornn. They've an 80% win rate with us. Shie on the Silas as well opts in as another engage tool for them, where he's got the chains to try and set up these fights. And between Longxing and Shie, they have been the primary engage tools for this squad when they look good. Now you've got them on 2 champions that do just that. LGD feel like they've found, again, the puzzle that fits them so well.
And once again, so much of this game is going to come down to the jungle matchup, because we've got Peanut versus Beisheng, and Peanut certainly found the advantages in game number 1 when it came to that matchup. But this time around on the Kindred against Graves, I'd expect Graves to have the advantage at least to start things off.
You would definitely when it comes to your clears. Beisheng is going to be going very aggressively, and especially when Beisheng going aggressive with the Ignite Smite combo as well. So he'll be looking to try and get into the face of Peanut and be a little bit more of more in command when it comes to these jungle invades this time around. He should be able to do so. Teacher Ma will have control of this mid lane. He's got Syndra primed for that push roam potential that we talked about with the WE mid laner. So I want to see how Teacher Ma and Beisheng can get into Peanut's jungle and get these plays off nice and early.
I have to say, I'm glad Beisheng changed the right summoner spell. He was at risk of losing a month's salary there if he'd misclicked the wrong one. But I am interested to see what Beisheng can do, because he does have this Graves once more. It's a pick that he has shown real prevalence on this split, and it's something that he has carried games for WE on. Morgan already having a bit of a hard time in this top side. Obviously, Renekton does have a good amount of sustain if he can get the cool meek around the whole minion wave.
But he also wants to try and catch out Longxing with the edge of that as well, because you do get a little bit of extra healing, but Longxing doing a good job of trading aggressively, then backing the hell out of there when Morgan doesn't have the opportunity to trade back. Shie, though, already taken relatively low, and this is the same change that we saw from WE in their series in the regular split. Beisheng starting to play far more aggressively towards this mid lane, because he realizes, hey, look, especially on something like a Syndra, we get Teacher Ma rolling. We're in a great spot here as WE.
And it's kind of the opposite to what you'd expect out of WE playstyle-wise. It's usually Teacher Ma getting out of the mid lane to get people fed elsewhere on the map, but more recently in summer, when we've seen things like the Syndra, things like the Silas out of Teacher Ma, while he generally is still roaming away, Beisheng has given him a little bit more attention.
Killua going for a quick grab onto Kramer there. Not really needed, but definitely this is a lane in the bottom side of the map. It's going to be pretty stale. You've got a Tam Kench versus a Braum Israel. There's going to be no action happening there. Instead, we got to see what will happen when Kramer, if he can get that shove off in the bottom lane, start to knock through these turret plates instead.
Morgan, I wasn't sure if he was going to try proxy a wave there for a second, as he somehow ended up on the wrong side of the tower. Go slice and dice back over to the lane. Didn't miss any CS, just some shenanigans, I guess.
What I want to see WE do is work in conjunction with Morgan this game, though. When you've got Teacher Ma who can get it aggressively, when you've got Beishang who's going for these aggressive summoner spells as well, a dive in towards this top side of the map with 3 champions would net a very quick kill against Longxing, but they need to get off the bat early before Longxing starts to get too tanky, before he gets access to Call of the Forge God. We can see the TP, or at least the back coming through from Teacher Ma here, where I want to see him TP mid, push out this wave aggressively, especially not quite able to get the corrupting potion, but still will have the advantage when it comes to shove, and then move towards this top side.
Yeah, the Darksteel's certainly going to help him with the mana regen there as well. But let's kind of visit the identities that we set up right at the start of today, Dagda, because, hang on, Xie got pretty aggressive onto Teacher Ma. Still not going to quite land on the Scat of the Week there, so Teacher Ma can't quite trade back. But when we look at Longxing on this Ornn, this is more what we expected out of Longxing, not the carries like the Jace. Even though he looked amazing on the Jace in game number 1, this is much more his style. Longxing doing a lot of work in this mid lane. He is winning this lane hard.
And you can see the effects of that nerf towards Syndra. So she got a bunch of her damage taken off her Dark Sphere, the Q, and you can see not able to trade back as effectively. Bot side though.
Beishang trying to make a play, Killua. Forced to flash out from this one as Kramer looking to punish. Peanut now stepping into the jungle, and Teacher Ma is found alone. Does get the stun from the Scat of the Week. Barely gets out with his life. Flash still available, and with Beishang here, he's going to be safe. Beishang stepping past Peanut. I think he knew he was there potentially, but just deciding, you know what, I'm going to allow it. I'm going to go clear the wave mid.
This again, though, is slowing down the pace of the game for WWE. Now, they're not exactly on a timer where it's like, if you don't get to these early kills, you're going to fall behind. But certainly when you look at a double AD carry composition with Ornn in the top lane, late game's going to favor LGD. So I want to see WE getting off to these early starts where they can start making these aggressive plays. But when you've already got Teacher Ma shoved back thanks to that play from Peanut, and now you're securing that early dragon for LGD as well, it feels like it's not the start that Beishang really wanted in this game.
Beishang's been struggling a little bit, but it has to be said, against Peanut, that's probably to be expected. Peanut has been one of the players that, even back in spring, when LGD finished, I think it was 16th in the regular split, Peanut still looked exceptional. Peanut still looked like a top 5 jungler in the whole league, which is incredibly impressive on a team that is in 16th place. Now, he's got a team around him as well. So this summer, Peanut has looked exceptional. Beishang has been in the conversation with the top junglers in the league. It feels like Peanut's really giving him a run for his money.
And it says a lot when LGD scrapped the entire squad and just said, hey, look, we're building around Peanut. And that's why we've got LGD, who we talked about traditionally being very aggressive in these early stages. Peanut getting out onto the map, making these plays towards Longxing in the top lane. This time around, though, Peanut realizes, hey, look, I've got a bit of an issue here where Beishang, especially with this Ignite, he's going to beat me in a 1v1. We've got Morgan and Teacher Ma who controlling the pace of the game through their 2 lanes. So instead, he's taking a little bit of a step back and instead looking to help his team escort these minion waves in and make sure that they're not overextended in a bunch of situations. You can see it here on the bottom side of the map where, okay, we're a bit worried with where Killua and Kramer are positioned right now. I'm going to pop down here, make sure they can push in that wave nicely and not get bothered by Beishang anytime soon.
Missing gets away on a blast gun here as LGD look to answer for the blue buff that was stolen on the top half of the map here. Peanut going to set that up for Xie to grab for himself. Then he'll grab a Grump on top of it because he knows that Beishang took his entire top side of the jungle. True Shot Barrage did connect onto Peanut. With the smite coming on through here, Peanut gets himself another stack. That's 2 now already. A
split map like this favors LGD super well because, as he said, stacks for Kindred, fantastic, but you're also getting chip damage on bottom. But Peanut,
there's going to be some stacks on Peanut's tombstone right here as the Q comes out from Braun. Peanut jumping away, but Killua is here on the TK. He's going to get him out to safety.
And look, Beishang will be able to trade towards this Rift Tower at the top side, but we're already seeing Kramer is like, right, I'm going to start putting damage into the bottom lane tower, so they're trading already for these turret plates. And look, if Beishang puts a bunch of this gold in towards Morgan, it's like, well, we don't really mind. Morgan's not really going to be able to have a big impact in these fights unless he finds these massive flanks. They'd love instead for WE to put that gold into Jumong, but when you've got no real camps on the bottom side for Beishang, it feels a little bit sad to try and move down towards that bottom side.
So I do quickly want to talk about the lane matchups that we've got on our hands here because it feels different to game number 1. In that game number 1, LGD found advantages in the CS numbers in every single lane. And while they've managed to repeat that in the bottom lane, mid lane and top lane are going in favor of WE. In terms of the CS numbers at least, but Shie wants to change that as he moves in. Peanut getting into the mid lane as well. Kahlua is here. LGD really want to punish Teacherma. They're not quite going to find the opportunity. Beisheng moves into the jungle here. They're going to clear the vision. They're going to maintain control of this bottom side Scuttle Crab. With missing here as well, Beisheng can grab it.
Nice job from WE to bully out LGD, although Teacherma does need to be careful about how much damage he's taking in this mid lane. Overall though, this is, as you said, LGD playing a slower paced game than they did last time because there's no rush for them, although as I say that, already looking for the dive for WE in the bottom lane.
If that ain't a red flag that there's a dive coming, I don't know what is. Kramer is gone. Missing Happy to take the tower there for now, and Beisheng, he's got that Rift Herald if he wants to give that over. Jomung tanking tower for some reason there. Not quite sure why he was staying in range, but that is going to be a nice little play for WE. First blood for them. And they're not going to opt into dropping the Herald just yet.
I want to know what was going through Kramer's mind at that point in time, though. You see the graves up over the wall, you're like, oh,
yeah,
boy,
there is a word that went through his mind that I'm not allowed to say on broadcast, actor, because I know exactly what he was thinking there. That one sucks for Kramer. That's the life of an Ashe, though. And obviously, Kahlua, this is one of the issues when you've got this Tahm Kench that is roaming around the map so much.
I'm surprised, though, that WE didn't put down the Rift Herald there, because I want to see them put that gold in towards Jomung. That felt like the best time to secure a couple of these plates, set that tower really low, and especially when you've only got 3 minutes left until that turret plate falls, you would like to start solidifying those advantages in case some pesky business comes in from LGD in the meantime.
Could be a signal, though, that WE have something else in store for us over the next couple of minutes of the game.
Well, it's going to be towards the Dragon. I know that they want to try and use this Rift Herald to create pressure somewhere. But honestly, with how strong their team is right now, I think they can just put that gold in towards Jomung. He'll be able to back finish off a bunch of these items, and then you're in a pretty good spot comparatively to Kramer, who's only gone for the Cull and that FAM sector.
So Dragon number 2 going to be spawning here. This is the point in the game where WE lost everything in game number 1. Missing might find himself in the same situation. Goes down for the second kill of the game as Jomung forced out of the bottom lane here by Kramer. And LGD, they're going to be all over this Dragon like a rash.
And there you go. Missing's gone. Beisheng's lost control now of his lanes. He's not going to be able to play this Rift Herald to the same extent. You can see it's nearly timing out, so he needs to get this down soon. But it makes it a lot easier for LGD to try and defend. And now Jomung, the main carry for WE, the guy we talked about who, Rookie of the Year, 35% of this team's damage, is going to lose out on a bunch of this gold.
Do you have a Herald that could be used mid lane? Shie barely gets out with his life. Flash going to be used. Beisheng could have his opportunity now to drop that Herald. This will be 3 plates going the way of WE in the mid lane. Peanut threatening that he wants to go in. He's just going to let the wolf chomp on these minions a little bit. It's good for the teeth. Dogs like to chew on things. That's law of the universe. As Peanut will be able to clear the Herald, but that's going to be 4 plates taken by WE. Nice answer for the Dragon.
Yeah, for anyone who hasn't read, Kindred's Lord actually specifically says that Wolf prefers raptor bones. You know, it's written in there in the scroll.
Does it actually?
No.
Oh, okay.
But well, maybe.
I was excited then. I was like, damn, Dagda knows his lore.
WE still good. They managed to get that tower in the mid lane. I still would have preferred that gold to be gone towards Jomung. You can have Teacherma carry you through this mid game, but honestly, that's what Teacherma, Morgan, and Beisheng are kind of here for. Jomung needs to be the one that's going to set up as the main carry for this squad.
Which is not that surprising. That is what you expect out from WE. This has been the way that they operate for the entire year. But it's important to reiterate that Jomung has really stepped up to that role. When we talked about it in spring, we were like, hey, they're always going to play around bot side, because if they don't, Jomung might run it down. Now in summer, it's like, okay, they're going to play around bot side because Jomung is the premier carry on this squad, and he has looked like one of the best AD carries in the entire league, winning Rookie of the Split.
Yeah, he's top 3 for me right now. And, I mean, like, it's Loken, Jackie Love, and then Jomung. That's where these guys lie for me, and that's incredible for Jomung, especially as the rookie AD carry, as you said. When you put him in towards veteran names like that, it is insane for WE, and especially to see his growth, how he's improved from spring to summer. It is impeccable performances from Jomung.
And it's great to see so far in game number 2 them going even or finding themselves some slight advantages here over LGD. Because let's just remember, Like, you're mentioning Kramer is an incredibly experienced player. You can say that for 4 of the players on LGD. It's just the support role that is a player that hasn't been to Worlds. The rest of the squad have all attended Worlds. Peanut managing to grab himself 2nd place at Worlds, managing to win an MSI as well. Like, this is an exceptionally experienced roster from LGD. And honestly, that's why I was so surprised that when we saw that interview with Peanut coming in towards game number 2, that he didn't feel confident coming into playoffs because the squad was such a new squad.
Sometimes that pressure is what forges diamonds, and right now LGD with that pressure seem to have kicked it up a gear, and this is where that veterancy comes in, where they can really take on new heights. Now in this game, it's been a lot slower. We haven't seen LGD get ahead too far or kind of do too much, but certainly that game 1 looked very much LGD in control. This time around though, WE in a much better position. We saw that early Rift Tower go their way, but now coming to try and contest this second one, although Shie does need to be careful here.
Shie, I've been impressed at how much he wants to go aggressive here onto Teachama, trying to punish every single time. Teachama steps just a little bit out of position, but does need to be cautious because Beisheng has shown he's more than happy to jump into the fray there.
And this is difficult for WE, where you can see how much pressure Peanut is putting towards that Rift Herald, but LGD are guaranteed a Terra bot lane if Jomung tries to leave, and they're not feeling confident enough right now that they can just try and fight 3v3, especially with some of the tank stats that have come in for Longxing in the top lane, and how well Shie is playing in this game.
And it's worth mentioning as well that Peanut grabbing this Herald on the top side, still going to be on 2 stacks of that Kindred, and in the meantime, Beisheng is able to get the bottom side scuttle. Killer is in trouble here, gets knocked up. That's going to be heal forced out. True Shot Barrage isn't quite enough as the redemption comes through, just so they can tank the tower long enough. Peanut did get the Herald, and now he moves up towards the top side. Morgan, it is your time to shine as you're going to be in a 2v1 as Kramer forced a flash. There's 2 summoners blown in the bottom side. In the meantime, Teachama gets a kill onto Shie. WE are picking up the pace.
And Missing's going to be able to stop this back here as well, so this means you're getting a bunch of turrets on the bottom side. You're going to get that turret in the mid, and even though the Rift Child's going down to the top side for LGD, this is a better trade for WE.
Fantastic stuff from WE here as we head towards the mid-game. The Herald will be used to finish this tower off on the top side. Might be able to get a second charge. I thought Logic was going to let it die to the turret there. Morgan might be able to answer. Peanut did just grab himself a 3rd stack, though.
And that 2,000 gold lead has now accelerated to a 4,000 gold lead for WE. And now we're starting to see with WE in control, they can start to make these plays happen. Picking the mid towards Shie. They're getting down the mid lane structure, the bottom lane structure. They can get the vision control down that enables Beisheng to play aggressively into the enemy side of the map. This is where WE shine, and this is where they're going to get to play their game.
Let's take another look at this pick onto Shie against the old jungler there. I mean, it was just clean. It was just clean.
You gotta kind of respect that team he used to play for Shie, even if you're not fully convinced. And looks like Killua doesn't even get the back off down on this bottom side. Didn't even catch this one.
I mean, easy picks coming out here. Arrow comes on through as Longxing going to be tanking on the front line. Teachama's low, did get his ultimate out and might just walk away with his life as well. In the meantime, Jomon getting chased down by Shie, finished off as he nearly finished both carries with a single ultimate. LGD coming out on top of the fights. Beisheng is here to contest on the Dragon. Knocked up though, and Shie should be able to finish this kill off. Beisheng barely surviving and will be finished off as Shie is desperate to carry this game. Now a TP coming out from the side of Teachama. He wants to re-engage this fight, but Syndra cannot jump into the front line. That's not how this game works. And now missing the target is all of these AD carries on the side of LGD will just mow through the health bars. Morgan's doing what he can, but what he can is not a whole lot.
There are 2 things that seem to be conducive with this series. One is Teachama getting out on a single life point, and 2 is WE throwing at dragons, because this is the 2nd time now in this series we've seen WE go towards these dragon fights. They're not able to get on towards the key carries, and LGD are picking them apart.
It's heartbreaking, Degda. That's going to be 3 dragons now in favor of LGD, and WE just can't seem to get the ducks in a row here. Felt like they were joining in the fights at different times. Teachama, I mean, we didn't quite see how the fight started, but it felt like it was Teachama getting caught out of position.
And this is what we talked about. This is where LGD are most confident to set up these plays. When Longxing is on an engaged top laner, they look beautiful. Teachama manages to escape on 1 HP as Shie finishes off Jomung, and there's no protection. There's no one here. Even with missing on this Braum, the team is way too scattered. LGD are able to pick up this fight that's just numbers advantage for them right now. And even when Teacher Matt comes in, he is way too deep. He should have TP'd to one of these wards in front of his team so then they can try and aggress forward. But it's easy there. LGD turned directly on towards Teacher Matt. You still, all this time, have the open Peanut. And it's, I don't know, WE, you gotta pick your fights properly.
It's the fact that they continue to contest there.
Yeah.
That was the issue to me. Like, you can lose the fight, you can lose the Dragon, but then when you commit the rest of your players to the play, after the Dragon's already lost, I'm not sure what the arrow was. Kramer trying to get some poke down, trying to get some
steal
poke
the
down.
blue. He was trying to see if he could make that splash damage, steal it away. I mean, if Kramer's firing out arrows at this point in time like that, you got to be feeling pretty good. There goes the collateral damage to just push back WE. Redemption response, but it will mean LGD can't quite crack open this turret. Whereas Jomong on this top side is getting a lot of gold fed in towards him.
Certainly will, and he's at that 2-item mark, which is generally speaking when Ezreal will start to really fire off in these team fights. It's just whether or not we actually get to see a team fight that they can group as 5 and make this happen. Because let's bear in mind, with this Ornn, if you're fighting in the river, if you're fighting in these jungle paths, Ornn's going to have a whale of a time.
And here's the thing. You're waiting for WE for a couple more items to come in on Jomong. As you said, you still want the likes of that stance to come in as the 3rd item, and that's when Ezreal really starts to kick things up a notch. Beishang as well, he's in a really good spot with the Black Cleaver and also having his jungle item completed, but honestly, if I come to a team fight in the next 2 minutes for this Ocean Soul, I'm still favoring LGD massively so. Just because you've got hard spikes coming in, Xie having that GLP, going to be working up towards that Liandry's Torment, it looks like, as well now. Kramer's got his 2 items finished as well. Like, they're in a great spot here as LGD to just close out this next Dragon and then win the game off the back of a nice Ocean Soul.
Well, the Colonel's on board, but only 4.9% so right now.
Sorry, I'd actually like to correct myself. Oh, it is the Liandry's Torment. I actually was going to say, probably would have preferred a Banshee's Veil coming through for Xie here. I think when you've got enough of the CC lock, the impactful stuns that can come through from both Missing and also Teacher Matt, the Banshee's Veil could have helped out in just that initial engage, but still, Liandry's Torment going to do a lot of work for him here against WE.
Yeah, going to be hitting that 2nd item mark, and it is a nice power spike coming out from Xie in the mid lane. And a lot of this is going to rest on Xie, because in that last fight, he was comfortably the star player from the side of LGD, able to force Teacher Matt out of the play. Nearly got 2 kills with the stolen True Shot Barrage. And he managed to solo out Jomong as well. So if he can get in those positions, but once again, it feels like these fights across the course of this series have more been WE mispositioning as opposed to LGD catching or setting up a play for themselves.
You can see it here. WE very spread out, trying to see if they can get onto a flank position so then LGD can set up for a front-to-back engage, but it's really difficult for them to actually find a favorable engage when LGD are able to keep them at bay.
Yeah, Xie's stolen Glacial Fissure, which is not usually what you see out from a Sylas, but you know, if it works, it works. I'm not 100% sure of the AP scaling of that one, but I guess we'll find out in the next fight. As Drake is going to be spawning in 20 seconds, Dagda. WE don't want to let this one go. Good damage onto Kalua. It's going to be Jomong jumping over the wall, but immediately takes an arrow. Missing is here, blocks the call of the Forge God. That's going to deter a lot of what LGD can do. That might open the Dragon for WE. Xie trying to punish. Jomong keeps himself at a safe distance here.
Peanut's hopped over the wall though. He's actually soloing out this, or going to be ready to solo out this Dragon when it does spawn and then be able to pack back over. But WE will start to turn towards the objective.
Yeah, Peanut ain't solo here, that's for sure. Beishang's moved over, as have the rest of the squad. Bear in mind, Call of the Forge God's still going to be on cooldown here. As we do see the Abyssal Voyage to get back into play. Peanut in to try and get the steal. It goes the way of Beishang. Peanut survives with the Lamb's Respite as Lunxing tries to get in to protect his jungler, but Beishang shuts him down. Now the True Shot Barrage across the team as Morgan will be able to stop Lunxing escaping. The stun doesn't come out though, and they're trying to get onto Killua. That's going to be a stun from the Scout of the Week, and Beishang trying to finish these ones off. WE chasing for more on this one. Kramer trying to kite flash from Missing is answered by Kramer. And LGD, they get away with 3 members, but it's WE that grab a Dragon.
They've led them straight towards this Baron though. This would be a confident play from WE. Not sure if I want to go for this though. You still have 3 members from LGD up right now, and Teacherma is nearly dead.
This is the LPL that I know and love. It's Teacherma that's going to be heading back to base because he has his TP available. Baron down to 6,000.
Oh,
Peanut is
no.
nowhere near the play, so Beisheng has smite advantage here. Morgan, no Dominus. The health bars are low. Missing just trying to block for now as Kramer gets in. They're all stuck against the wall, but the Baron does go down in the end. Teachma re-engaging onto the play. Here we go with the slow across the team. It's going to be... Oh, everyone's falling. Shie! Shie's gone huge! Quadra kill comes in. That's going to be just a quadra because Kramer stole it.
How could you do it to him, Kramer? Shie's story was to slap back WE. The chains come out, they whip around, and WE are sent back to the base. LGD managed to turn that one around in what was some dicey play.
My goodness, WE try and make the LPL Baron happen, but Shie sends him packing. He's now got 7 kills. He gets the quadra, and he shows everybody why he's the all-star mid lane.
And that's the difference between veterancy, experience, and WE. Unfortunately, they don't have people that can make these calls in clutch situations. They go towards that Baron. Teacherma has already been knocked down and has to go back towards base because LGD have been able to poke him out. LGD then is a 3-man unit, turn towards WE, take the fight, and by the skin of their teeth make this play happen. We're going to get the pro view from Shie, but look at how everyone on WE is grouped up. Perfect for the likes of these bodies, perfect for the chain lashes coming through from Shie. And when Beisheng steps forward, when he sees their low, it's a whirlwind of death from Shie.
So close to just grabbing that pentakill as well.
Look at him, he was laughing the whole time. Oh, I can't believe Kramer stole that.
Kramer, you scumbag, how could you do this? But you know what, that was beautiful coming out from Shie. It was beautiful from the whole side of LGD, because contesting that with Peanut not available as well, they knew that they wanted the fight, not the Baron, and they were able to find it in the end. The gold for the Baron did go the way of WE, so when it does come to the gold scores across the board, it is still just going to be even.
The thing is, though, LGD are able to defend these turrets in the mid. It's not like WE are able to push advantages with those structures. Instead, LGD are looking to play out in these side lanes. Peanut did a great job of shoving in on that bot side. Shie now is shoving in his top lane as well. And with 2 minutes until this Ocean Dragon, they're in a good spot here with wave states on LGD side.
Yeah, they're in a fantastic spot as you can see Peanut on the bottom side of the map already. He's going to push that wave out, move back over towards the dragon that's going to spawn in a couple of minutes' time here. Morgan just trying to see if there's any jungle camps available before they completely lose control of the bottom side of the map. And now the question to me is, what did WE do next? Because obviously they can't let this Ocean Drake go. But these fights, especially with Shie now having 7 kills, we just talked about the second item as a spike. Now he's got a Zhonya's as well.
He just straight up bought that Zhonya's too. There was a lot of gold sitting in his inventory, but I think the best play here for WE is to get Morgan towards this top side. He's the one with teleport. Start making your lanes at least look a little bit better than they do right now, so you have the opportunity to turn towards this dragon, because when you look at LGD's side, you've only got 1 dragon for WE. LGD could just say, hey, look, we don't want to go towards this. We're going to take side lane structures instead.
Morgan knows he doesn't win this 1v1 here. Shie is massive, and that's going to be Ornn jumping in on the plate as well. Morgan barely surviving, and Missing arrives to save the day at the end of everything here. Charmung jumps in, but I think they realize they can't actually force a play off the back of this one. Just getting Morgan out of there, though, is going to be worth it.
A lot invested. You've got the ults coming through from Shie. Long Xing's Call of the Forge God as well. This makes things a little bit easier for WE approaching this, where they can actually group up in these close quarter fights, try and play some sort of front to back stall, which disables Shie from getting in. Long Xing not really able to touch the back line either. And then it becomes a case of how quickly can Teacherma and Zhomong get through Shie and Long Xing in comparison to the other tanks in WE.
We'll have to see what WE can do in this next fight, because 7 seconds, this Drake is spawning. Missing, trying to step forward, trying to check into these brushes. Morgan off to the top side, but he doesn't have Dominus available, so it's difficult for him to get into the play. Keep your eyes on Jolmung and whether Shie can shut him down. Trying to get over with the chain lash. Beisheng has got to try and make some kind of miracle steal happen. He gets it. He's going to go down for his play, but you know what? That is well worth it for him. It's going to be 1 kill going the way of LGD. What else can they find off the back of this one, though? Kramer already used that arrow as he gets the volley in. Killua went a little bit deep for this one, but he's just trying to keep them still, trying to keep them in the play as Peanut arrives on the flank, trying to get on through into the play here. Call of the Forge God. It's going to be blocked by Missing. Morgan surviving with the Dominus that came off cooldown. Now Xie's gone a little bit too far. Can they finish up the kill onto the Superstar carry? The answer is no. Morgan now, Dominus in the middle of everyone, uses the stopwatch. Kramer gets out with his life. His Joming jumps in, flashes out, but he's knocked up by Langxing. And WE are falling apart once again. Peanut comes in as Xie blasts the team. And this might just be game 2.
LGD will wrap things up in game number 2. Not as clean as easy as game number 1, but King of Thieves title might be moving over to Beishang after this game.
This has been a beautiful little game 2 here for LGD. A beautiful series so far. And Xie showing that this rivalry is personal.
Both games now, Xie has stepped up massively. MVP in game number 1. There's no way he's not MVP in game number 2.